People have always died. People have always died before they were people, right? I suppose the easy definition is death is the end of your life. Is death the end, or is there an afterlife? When you die, that will be the end. You will not exist again forever.
한번 상상해 보죠. 당신은 눈을 가리고 의자에 앉아 있습니다. 그런데 당신의 뒤쪽에서 누군가 걸어오는 소리가 들립니다. 그러고는 당신의 바로 옆에 서서 머리에 권총을 겨눕니다. 그가 언제 방아쇠를 당길지는 모릅니다. 죽음은 당신 코앞으로 다가왔습니다. 어떤 감정이 드시나요?
Well, that's a psychological question, and I'm not an empirical scientist. I mean, we could have sociologists or psychologists go around and do surveys, and I don't do that. But certainly, my sense is that most people, at least many people, are afraid of death. It's the sort of thing that gets said often enough that people are afraid of death, or one reads it so and so that they say I'm afraid of death. That I certainly believe it.
우리는 긍정적인 것에 끌리기 마련입니다. 삶은 긍정적이고 죽음은 부정적이죠. 그러니 삶은 우리 주변에 가까이 두려고 하고 죽음은 피하려 합니다. 죽음에 대한 회피가 인류의 발전을 이끌어왔다고 주장하는 이들도 있습니다. 인류학자들은 죽음에 대한 거부, 공포가 문명과 문화의 시발점이라고 합니다. 인류는 죽음의 공포를 극복하기 위해 문명을 일으켰다는 것이죠. 굶어 죽지 않기 위해 농업을 일으켰고, 얼어 죽지 않기 위해 옷과 집을 만들어 산업을 발전시켰으며, 병들어 죽지 않기 위해 의술과 약품을 개발했습니다. 모두 보다 오래 살기 위해서입니다. 죽음을 생각할 때 대부분의 사람들은 공포를 느낍니다. 그래서 심리학에선 죽음을 우리 인간 공포의 근원으로 보고 있죠. 물론 지금 당장 일어난 일도 아니고 답도 없는 질문이라 두렵지 않다고 말하는 사람도 있습니다. 정말 그런가요? 죽음이 불러일으키는 두려움을 억지로 막을 수는 없습니다. 하지만 생각해 볼 수는 있죠. 이 두려움이 타당한 것인가에 대해서요.
Something similar is true for each emotion. There are certain feelings, but for those feelings to be appropriate, certain conditions have to be met. Now, some of these conditions are more obvious, and some of these conditions are more controversial. For it to make sense for you to be afraid of something, that thing has to be bad or it has to be dangerous. You know, if I said, "Oh, here's a cute little bunny rabbit," and you said, "Oh, I'm afraid of it," I wouldn't want to say that you're not afraid. Maybe you are afraid. Maybe your heart's pounding and you're feeling scared. But we would wonder, why are you afraid? It doesn't seem to make any sense if the bunny is really harmless. Now, of course, if you tell me you believe the bunny is dangerous, then we can launch into a discussion about is it really dangerous or not. So this brings us back to one of the points from earlier about if one of the reasons that you're afraid is because you believe there's an afterlife and you're worried what the experiences will be like, and they might be really bad ones. You might be in torment in hell or who knows what. Well, then the condition is met. But if death really is the end, then there's nothing bad there in the relevant way for you to be afraid of. Many people are worried that they think death is mysterious. And so they're worried about what's it going to be like after they die. And of course, to the extent that suppose you believe in hell and you're worried that you're going to go to hell, then I understand why you're afraid. afraid to die. But precisely if the views that I believe in, that the death of my body is my death, it's the end of my existing as a person, then there's nothing that it's like to be dead. There is no mystery. There is no further experience after my body stops functioning. And so that's another way in which there's literally nothing to be afraid of.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
매체가 발달하면서 우리는 죽음과 관련된 소식을 더욱 자주 그리고 아주 생생하게 접하게 되었습니다. 바로 앞에서 혹은 나에게 직접적으로 일어난 일은 아니지만 죽음은 두려운 감정을 불러일으키죠. 사람들은 피할 수 없는 죽음에 대한 두려움을 느끼면 죽음 자체를 부정하려 듭니다. 그리고 무의식적으로 방어 자세를 취합니다. 죽음을 두려워할 필요가 없다 말하는 셸리 교수님도 그 두려움을 부정하지만은 않습니다.
Although I don't think fear of death in and of itself makes sense, because I don't think it's bad that we're going to die, there's still a possibility that I will die sooner rather than later. This is a subtle distinction, but I think it's important here. I mean, imagine that after this interview is over, I was crossing the street. I'm so busy thinking about the clever things I said that I don't see the car that's about to hit me. Well, that would be very, very bad, right? Because what I'm telling you is that the reason life is worth continuing living now is because what the world will give me, what life will give me, is on balance much, much better. Then it's very much worth having. It's not that no bad things happen in my life, but the good things tremendously outweigh the bad things. And my point about immortality is I think at some point the balance would shift. At some point, the bad things would outweigh the good things. But that's not going to happen, I believe, for a very, very long time, as long as my health holds up. But what if my health doesn't hold up? Or what if I'm in an accident? So there's some chance that I'll die, as I sometimes put it, I'll die too soon. I think it's reasonable to have some degree of concern about that. But how concerned, how anxious you are has to be a function of how likely it is that you'll die soon. In fact, I'm fairly confident that if I could stay in good health and be comfortable, I'd be happy to live for another 100 years, 200 years, maybe even thousands of years. However, I wouldn't want to live forever. It seems to me that certainly for me, and I believe for everybody, sooner or later the time would come at which you would just you'd get bored. You would feel you had seen it all at such a point, and at that point, living longer wouldn't be a gift. It would be a nightmare.
죽음 앞에서 모든 인간은 같습니다. 우리는 반드시 죽고 얼마나 살지 모르며 언제 죽을지 모르죠. 그리고 어디에서 어떻게 죽을지도 모릅니다. 아무리 노력해도 피할 수 없는 죽음. 그렇다면 우린 죽음을 어떻게 맞이해야 하는 걸까요?